Hey there, angry faithful. I just wanted to drop in, bend your ear a little bit, get your attention. So if you're not listening, drop what you're doing and pay attention to me because I'm here to inform you that not only can you get your daily, maybe if you're binging it, I'm not sure, that's entirely up to you, but you can multiply your doses of angry me fuckery by paying attention to all of the platforms upon which you can find either the dulcet tones of my voice and David's voice or my pretty face and David's not so pretty face. Anyways, digressing, we not only we are on YouTube, we are on Spotify, we're on Rumble, we're on Google, Apple Podcast. We have a TikTok page. We're on Twitter, Instagram, and of course Facebook. So if you find yourself fuckery deprived, curl up with a nice hot mug of shut the fuck up and just listen. Open those ear holes and be prepared to be cream pied like it's the first time. Thanks for listening.
Welcome, Angry Faithful. Today on Psychos and Sociopaths, we're going to talk about Gary Ridgway, the Green River Killer. He was a serial killer, and he was intentional victims of 48 separate murders. As part of his plea bargain, another conviction was added, bringing the total number of convictions to 49, making him the second most prolific serial killer in United States history, according to confirmed murders.
I think he did that for the clout, man. He did it for the gram. That's what he did.
He probably did do it for the gram. It's one of those things that
did it for the gram. Totally did it for the gram.
You know what we need to do? What we need to find out is how many like serial killers are actually on, because most of them don't live. They either A, kill themselves, or B, die from execution or something like that, unless they're in like a liberal state to where they just get their sentence done and they keep on doing it. Very rarely do they get out of prison.
This jackass is still alive because he's in Washington. Washington's a liberal state. So,
yeah. But anyways, early in life, Jerry Lee Ridgway was born February 18th, 1949 in Salt Lake, Utah. The second of Mary and Thomas Ridgway's three sons. His home life was somewhat troubled. Relatives have described his mother as domineering and have said that while young, he witnessed more than one violent arguments between his parents. His father was a bus driver who would often complain about the presence of sex workers. Ridgway had he complained about the presence of, Utah. Never mind.
Yeah, his dad was a bus driver who complained about sex workers being on the bus.
Yeah.
Ridgway apparently had a bedwetting problem. Ha ha.
Until age 13. His mother was washed his genitals after each and every episode. Good Lord.
Yeah, those mornings for you.
At 13, I'd be able to do that myself. Well, hell, fucking at like 7 or 6, I'll be able to do that myself. He would later tell
at like 8 or 9, I was already playing with myself. So yeah, okay. And
I feel like underwhelmed by that because I didn't start until like 12. I think.
What can I say? I'm an overachiever.
No, I didn't start until high school, so I was like at 14. We were talking about that, but it happens. He would later tell the defense psychologist that as an adolescent, he had conflicting feelings of anger and sexual attraction to his mother and found about killing her. Which way
actually started sooner than that, because when I was living in Hawaii, I was 6 or 7. Climbed the rope on the playground. Found out that it felt really fucking good. Maybe that's why I'm so fucked in the head.
No, because when I was the first time I noticed I had like those changes and everything, I was probably about 8 and was with my aunt. I ended up like we
Okay,
ended
stop, stop,
it,
stop, stop.
it was weird. Ridgway was dyslexic, was held back a year in high school. When he was 16, he stabbed a 6-year-old boy who survived the attack. Ridgway had led the boy into the woods and then stabbed him through the ribs into his liver. Ridgway's IQ was recorded being in the low 80s. Here's something weird, okay? Ridgway graduated T High School in 1969, married his 19-year-old high school girlfriend, Carlotta Craig.
Claudia.
Claudia Craig. He joined the United States Navy. Now, the reason why I find that kind of weird that his IQ was in the low 80s and he was able to go in the military, I think at one point in time they said that if your what was it, Jordan, the philosophy guy, Jordan Peterson.
Okay.
He said that the military will not take anybody with an IQ of like 83. Because
Okay.
you just can't. Well, you just can't teach them anything.
Well, okay. So that being said,
Sorry, I don't have an answer for that.
oh, be quiet, Alexa.
Weird.
Okay. Apparently she's listening. Anyways, it could have been in a couple of different things. One, it was Vietnam. Two, they were drafting people, so he could have gotten drafted into the Navy. So, I mean, it just says that he joined the Navy. It doesn't say how he joined the Navy. I mean,
yeah.
I mean, he. Okay, so he was sent to Vietnam. He served on board of a supply ship and saw combat. Basically, that probably means that his ship took fire from the shore. Okay, so during his time in the military, he had frequent sexual intercourse with sex workers and contracted gonorrhea. Although angered by this, he continued this activity without protection. The marriage ended within a year. Well, no shit. When he was questioned, or when questioned about Ridgway after his arrest, friends and family described him as as friendly but strange. His first 2 marriages resulted in divorce because of infidelities by both partners. His second wife, Marcia Winslow, claimed that he had placed her in a chokehold. He became religious during his second marriage, proselytizing door to door. It's basically kind of going, do you have a moment to talk about our Lord and Savior? You know?
Yeah.
Reading the Bible out at work and at home and insisting that his wife followed the strict teachings of their pastor. Ridgway would also frequently cry after sermons or reading the Bible. Despite his beliefs, he continued to solicit the services of sex workers and wanted his wife to participate in sex in public in inappropriate places, sometimes even in areas where his victims' bodies were later discovered. That's a kink. Okay.
Yeah.
According to women in his life, Ridgway had an insatiable sexual appetite. His 3 ex-wives and several ex-girlfriends reported that he demanded sex from them several times a day. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Often he would want to have sex in a public area or in the woods. By himself, he admitted having a fixation with sex workers with whom he had a love-hate relationship. He complained about their presence frequently in their neighborhood. He also took advantage of their services regularly. Some speculated that he was torn between his lusts and his staunch religious beliefs. With his second wife, Marcia, Ridgway had a son named Matthew, born in 1975. Now, throughout the 80s and 90s, he believed to have murdered at least 71 teenage girls and women near Seattle and Tacoma, Washington. In court statements, he later reported that he had killed so many that he lost count. A majority of the murders occurred between 82 and 84. The victims were believed to have either been sex workers or runaways whom he picked up along the Pacific Highway South. So he sometimes showed the women a picture of his son to trick them into trusting him. They would engage in sexual activity, and then minutes after minutes of intercourse from behind, he would wrap his forearm around the front of their necks and use the other arm to pull back as tightly as he could, strangling them. Killed most victims in his home, his truck, or secluded areas, and most of their bodies were dumped in wooded areas around the Green River, Seattle-Tacoma International Airport area, and other dump sites within South King County.
Just looking at a picture of this guy,
he looks like Uncle Rico.
Fucking yes. I was about to say that shit.
Dude, who also lived in a van.
Yes.
There were 2 confirmed and another 2 suspected victims found in Portland, Oregon. The bodies were often left in clusters, sometimes posed, usually nude. How is that, man? Like, he's in them. He's inside of them, choking the life out of them. Like,
what if it wasn't I know that he meant to do it and everything, but what if like he didn't mean to do it, and he was just had that
because he was so stupid that the first couple of times was like, kind of like
he didn't have his
kind of like the retarded brother from of Mice and Men, right? You remember reading that book? Yeah. The retarded brother. We accidentally killed the foreman's wife. Yeah. But he sometimes returned to the victims' bodies and have sex with them. So he was into necromancy.
Necrophilia.
Necromancy.
Necromancy is what he tried to raise the body. I mean, he could very well be in a necromancy, and that's how he thought he could raise the dead.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is the beautiful thing about doing a one-take show, is the fact that I am even susceptible to the occasional fuck up. So there you go. He later explained that he did not find necrophilia more sexually satisfying, but having sex with the deceased reduced the need to obtain a living victim and thus limited his exposure to being caught. So he was being economical and tactical. That's what he was doing. Because he was
basically using the condom twice.
Because most of the bodies were not discovered until only the skeletons remained. 2 victims are still unidentified. Ridgway occasionally contaminated the dump sites with gum, cigarettes, and written materials belonging to others, and even transported a few victims across state lines into Oregon to confuse the police. Now, back in the early 80s, the King County Sheriff's Office formed the Green River Task Force to investigate the murders. Task Force members included Robert Keppel and David Reichert, who periodically interviewed incarcerated serial killer Ted Bundy in 84. Bundy offered his opinions on the psychology, motivations, and behavior of the killer, and he suggested that the killer was revisiting the dump sites to have sex with his victims, which turned out to be true. And if the police found a fresh grave, they should stake it out and wait for him to come back. Also contributing to the investigation was John E. Douglas, who developed a profile of the suspect. Now, Ridgway was arrested in 82 and 2001 on charges related to prostitution. He became a suspect in the Green River killings in 83. And in 84, he passed a polygraph test. And on April 7th of 87, police took hair and saliva samples from him. So around 85, he began dating Judith Mawson, who became his 3rd wife in 88. Now, Mawson claimed in a 2010 television interview that she moved into his house while they were dating, and there was no carpet. And detectives later told her he'd probably wrapped a body in it. In the same interview, I'm sorry. In the same, the same interview, she described how she would leave for work early in the morning some days, obstinately for the overtime pay. Obstinately, there we go. Obstinately, because I can pronounce things. I can enunciate. I'm hooked on phonics.
Yeah, I know.
Anyway. Mawson speculated that, I need to quit hanging out with you. That's what it is.
That's what Mawson it is.
Speculated that he must have committed some of the murders while supposedly working these early morning shifts. She claimed that she had not suspected him of the crimes before she was contacted by authorities in 87. I had not even heard of the Green River Killer before that time because she did not watch the news. Wah, wah, wah.
There's some people that don't watch the news.
Yeah, I know, because it's depressing. Author Penny Moorhead interviewed Ridgway in prison, and he said while he was in the relationship with Mawson, his kill rate went down because he truly loved her. And of his 49 known victims, only 3 were killed after he married her. Now, she had later told a television reporter, "I feel I've saved lives by being his wife and making him happy." Now, the samples that were collected in 87 were later subjected to DNA profiling, providing the evidence for his arrest warrant. And on November 30th of 2001, Ridgway was at the Kenworth truck factory where he worked as a spray painter when police arrived to arrest him. Now, he was arrested on suspicion of murdering 4 women nearly 20 years earlier, and after first being identified as a potential suspect when DNA evidence conclusively linked semen left in the victims to saliva swab taken by police, the 4 victims named in the original indictment were Marcia Chapman, Opal Mills, Cynthia Hines, and Carol Ann Christensen. 3 more victims, Wendy Cofield, Deborah Bonner, and Deborah Yates, were added to the indictment after a forensic scientist identified microscopic spray paint spheres as a specific brand and composition of paint used at the Kenworth factory during the specific time frame when these victims were killed. See, he wasn't using the condom; he was raw dogging them.
Yeah. Plea bargaining, confessions, and sentencing. Early in August 2003, Seattle Television News reported that Ridgway had been moved from a maximum security cell at King County Jail to a Airway Heights minimum to medium security level tank. Other news stated that his lawyers, led by Anthony Savage, were closing a plea bargain that would spare him the death penalty in return for his confession of the number of Green River murders. On November 5th, 2003, Ridgway entered a guilty plea to the 48 charges of aggravated first-degree murder as part of a plea bargain, agreed to it in June, that would spare him execution in exchange for his cooperation in locating the remains of his victims, providing other details. Now, the reason why they actually do this is so the family have have something to bury and closure, that they know that their family members has died and they stopped looking for them. There's surprisingly a lot of money for missing persons, for, if you ever wanted to be a detective and you're actually somewhat good of it. And there's some people out there that just take your money just to try to find the people.
Yeah.
In his statement accompanying his plea deal, Ridgway explained that he had killed all his victims inside King County, Washington, and that he had transported and dumped the remains of the 2 women near Portland to confuse the police. Deputy Prosecutor Jeffrey Bard noted in court that the deal contained the names of 41 victims who had not been subject of State versus Ridgway if it were not for the plea agreement. King County prosecution attorney Norman, hold
on. Mailing. Yeah, I would say with Mailing. Yeah.
Malling explained his decision in making the deal. We have gone. We could have gone forward with 7 counts, but that is all we could have ever hoped to solve. At the end of the trial, whatever the outcome, there will have been lingering doubts about the rest of these crimes. This agreement was the avenue to the truth, and in the end, the search for the truth is still why we still have a criminal justice system. Gary Ridgway did not deserve our mercy. He does not deserve to live. The mercy provided by today's resolution is directly not at Ridgway, but towards the families have suffered so much. That's kind of admirable, and it's one of those things that I was like, man, given the chance, we would have took him out in the backyard and just shot him.
Yeah, but in the eyes of the law, one does not make right for the other, no matter what the cost. I mean, no matter what you know what I'm trying to say, tit for tat, eye for an eye. That's up to the legal system to do. I mean, would it be cool to be like a vigilante and kind of like take this guy down? Yeah, it would have been. But
extra him. Yeah.
I don't know, man. But yeah, this is probably one of the more modern era serial killers.
Yeah.
So, you know, it I don't know. I lived up there.
Mm-hmm.
Right there from like 89 to 90, 92, 93. Well, 92 maybe, yeah. Because my dad retired from the Navy up there, out of Bremerton, Puget Sound Naval Shipyards.
Mm-hmm.
So, I remember this being in the news a lot.
Really?
Yeah. So, and Tacoma was only about an hour away. So, looking back, you know, I'm just kind of like, wow, that's wow.
It's one of those things you're like, you had like a quick glance on it and everything, and then reading about it now, you're like, holy shit, this happened in my backyard.
Yeah, basically. And I mean, excuse me. See, in 2015, he was transferred. He was put in Washington State Penitentiary. Let me see here. But yeah, he was Washington State Penitentiary in Walla Walla, Washington. Yes, that's always as fun to say then as it is now. In January 2004. Now, on May 14th of 2015, he was transferred to USP Florence High, a high security federal prison east of what is that? Canyon City, Colorado. Now, let me see here. Now, in 2015 in September,
after public outcry,
yeah, I mean the people got pissy with it, right?
That who's in the state? Yeah.
So the governor announced that he would be transferred back to Washington to be easily accessible for murder, for open murder investigation. So I guess they're still chalking up the body count on this guy, at least trying to. He was returned by charter plane
oh, sorry.
Yeah, no, he was returned to Walla Walla on October 24th of 2015. So when you got that kind of a body count and you're confessing to at least 71, I think he's doing it for. At this point, he's like, fucking, I'm in here. I'm not going to die. They're by lethal injection or anything like that. He's going to die of natural causes in there.
Yeah,
he wants to go out on top. That's all it is. He just wants to go out on top.
Which he is still alive. He's 73 right now.
Yeah.
So he's pushing on death's door. But no, what's really strange with this one is the fact of, this is just me speaking, and I hope it's not the case, is on situations like this when he doesn't know how many people he's killed and he confesses to a murder that he didn't really do. I mean, we did do one case where the U.S. Texas Rangers ended up implementing this one guy like several crimes that he didn't really commit, and the murderer actually got away with it for the actual murderer got away with it for so long.
Yeah.
Because of that. But I hope it's not the case in this kind of situation and everything, because in all reality, I feel sorry for the victims once they found out of what had happened to their beloved either daughter or child, and they get the reprieve that they desperately deserve.
Now, they did identify some of his victims, like the youngest so far that they confirmed was 14.
Ugh.
And she was a previously unidentified Jane Doe, Wendy Stevens. Now, let me see here. I was looking at something. Okay. She was a previously identified as Jane Doe B10. There's still two unidentified bodies. Now, there's a Jane Doe B17, still unidentified victim. She was discovered January 2nd of 86. Now, the remains that had been found in another area, February 18th of 84, were later matched to this victim. In 2003, Ridgway claimed responsibility for her death. There's a Jane Doe B20, also unidentified. She was discovered in August of 03. Now, because the remains were partial, her face could not be reconstructed and her race could not be determined. But she was estimated to have been between 13 and 24 years old at the time of her death. She was murdered between 70 and 93. Oh, yeah, that narrows it down. But she's believed to have been murdered during the first decade of his murder spree. Damn. So, I'm like, okay. At the very least, there is, let's see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 victims that are all underage. And
did you count the ones of the task force victims list?
That's I know I'm going off the confirmed.
Just add 3 more.
Okay, so all right. So I mean, not that it's going to matter, but I mean, it's like this dude.
Yeah, he was a piece of shit.
Had problems. Now, the oldest one that he murdered was 31? No, 38. Oh, wow. He must have been like really desperate and went for some like mature cougar pussy or something. Patricia Yellow Robe. Yeah, Patricia Yellow Robe. She died in she disappeared January of 98, and she was found. Well, her remains were found August 6th of 98. So, yeah, so we're talking 49 that are confirmed. Now, I have a problem with the fact that they're tacking the unidentified, the two unidentifieds to his confirmed list. Is it just because he's taking responsibility for it? I don't know. Now he's suspected of but not charged with murdering the remaining 6 victims of the original list attributed to the Green River Killer. In each case, either Ridgway did not confess to the victims' deaths or authorities have not been able to corroborate their suspicion with reliable evidence. So it's unfortunate that these 6, 3 of them are still undiscovered, are just, those families are never going to get peace.
No, because the way he threw away the bodies.
Well,
I
it's
hate
not
to
so
say
much the
threw
fact that
away the bodies, but
it's not so much the fact that he threw them away. It's the fact that they can't tie those to him, and he hasn't confessed to these. So I'm kind of like, what's
I mean, if they already have like the DNA evidence of it, they're just
well, they just said
unidentified.
no with no reliable evidence.
Oh,
So
okay, okay.
I mean,
The
I
only
would imagine,
reliable evidence would be him confessing to those crimes.
yeah. Now, let me see here. Now, there's suspected deaths. There are an additional 6 more, 5 of whom have yet to be discovered. 13, 15, 16, 16, and 22 years of age at the time that they were disappeared. There's an unidentified black female, which I'm like, okay, fine. If you're going to do that, then how is it? I mean, and they're undiscovered. So it's like, okay, how do you know? To me, that's just, and plus on top of that, it's an unknown age. So I'm like, okay.
Well, not even
An
that. I'm
unidentified
looking
black
at
male,
it was
possibly
never been
bearing.
located or identified.
Right. Well, see, so an unidentified black female, possibly bearing the first name Michelle, was a possible victim of Ridgway. She's never been located or identified.
Oh wow. Cara McGurk was the mother of NBA player Martell Webster. McCurrick disappeared when her son was 4. That's weird.
Well, my change of address for the United States Postal Office has now officially been processed. All my mail effective Monday will be going to Lake Jackson.
That's good.
Yeah. Woo.
Yeah.
Now
Yeah,
we get to
it'll
figure
probably
out
take you. It'll
now.
probably take you like a couple of weeks or a month just to figure out.
Now we get to
rest.
figure out how much of my dad's mail is going to go down there.
Yes, that's
Yeah.
gonna be funny.
Yeah, I'm gonna be like, all right, well, once a month or something like that. No, it wouldn't. No, I'm gonna have to like immediately just mail it back to him.
Yeah,
Be like,
get some weird packages.
no. See, Amazon and eBay all have my third put on there on the mailing address.
Well, if you get some weird packages and everything, you go, you're just like, what's this? I don't know, honey. I think my dad's package.
If it doesn't have the third marked on it, I am not fucking opening it. What's in the box? Don't open that box.
Dude, being here and having all of my dad's stuff here and everything like that. Because me and Michael, my dog, we were trying to find something like a Leatherman or something like that. It's like he's got to have a Leatherman, one of these things. And we stopped looking through anything when we found one of these wooden egg things. The actual real thing for it is it's for putting in for socks and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So they keep the longevity, because I had to look it up, but damn it, just one of those things you're just like, that looks like a fucking butt plug, doesn't it? And I researched it. I was like, no, that doesn't, because it would just, I was just going in all different worlds like I usually do.
No, what I want to do is I want to pull like the ultimate prank on somebody. I'm going to buy a dildo and I'm going to mount it to a trailer hitch, like a tow hitch.
Mm-hmm.
Stick it in the receiver and just let them drive around like that all day.
Okay.
How funny would that be? Like, how long would it take them to realize?
Depending on the person, it took the person I did it to like almost a day. And they didn't go anywhere. I was the only, and then finally when they did go somewhere, there's apparently someone stole it. So he never found it. I had to tell him, I was like, hey dude, did you go up to Walmart? And he's like, yeah, I went up to Walmart. Got some weird looks going in. And it was kind of weird. He didn't even fucking find it. I had to tell him that I fucking put it on there. Luckily I took photos of it and sent them to him after. He's like, dude, this is what I put on your car. He's like, oh, that's fucking hilarious, dude. Where's it at? I don't know. I guess someone stole it from your freaking car. Well, that's kind of fucked up.
Uh-huh.
I wonder if they're using it. I mean, it went into that, I wonder if they're using it type deal. But that was probably around, that was like a, I don't know, a $60 joke. Those things aren't cheap.
Well, no.
But apparently, actual DVD corn is actually really cheap. You can get it for like $8. Back in the day, it was like 50 to 60.
Yeah, but who has a DVD player anymore?
Hell, who freaking buys DVDs anymore?
More to the point.
Yeah. But anyways, everybody, this was Gary Ridgway on Psychos and Sociopaths. I'm David Dickerman.
I am Johnny Skelton.
Thank you, Angry Faithful, for keeping up with us and listening to us on this episode. And good night.
Victory!